destroyed because of this freak. I won't allow it! These babies just saved this lame fest party!
What's going on? You are listening to This Week in Geek.net, and this is our final live show or regular news show of the year. I'm your host, Mike the Bourbon. I'm joined by my holly jolly compatriot.
That shit in this
yes,
time.
we so are, because I just want to be done.
It's been a very long time since we've had like bloopers at the beginning or end or collected them. Maybe we'll start again collecting those things, and usually we just go screw it and scrap it now, but we're leaving that shit in.
Yeah, because you know what? I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I have so much to do before my holiday gift guide, which is going to premiere on Friday evening, likely at this point. It has been a long week. So that's Alex. He's from the wonderful land of Mexican candy, known as Kitchener, Ontario, Canada.
I'm from the wonderful ice blizzard. Alex doesn't want to leave the house land of Oz right now.
Yeah, it has been a brutal week. Winter came in, kicked down the door, took names, and said, "You know what? I'm here to stay. I don't like this."
My brother visited on Thursday, and he's like, he goes, "I'm coming a little early and leaving early before the snow hits. I hear it's going to be bad." I'm like, "Okay." So he comes and leaves early, and he sends me a message, and he's like, you said you were going out tomorrow, like like a day later I was going to be going out to do some Christmas shopping with my mom, and he goes, you should probably cancel that. And I'm like, why? He goes, because when I was driving home, a city bus was turned sideways and slid down, blocking both lanes of a major street. And I went, oh yeah, I'm not going anywhere. So I ended up rebooking, and I'll be doing that at the end of this week, because fingers crossed by then everything will have been salted.
Yeah, it was kind of a mess this week. I mean, I went out on the day just before things hit. I went to the movies. I took myself on a date to go see Wicked for Good. Really enjoyed that, by the way. And everything's fine.
No, you're getting more and more into musicals.
Oh, I absolutely love musicals, and it was like a really good time. Not gonna lie, I got really emotional, so maybe I'm off my meds or something. But either way, went there, and it was really.
There's a lot of jokes I could make, and I'll make them after air. We were talking before recording that we're approaching our 19th year. In my case, it'll be my 9th year with you.
Yeah.
And 2017, Alex would have said some really insensitive jokes right there.
Yes, you would have. But yeah,
and you, if you're a listener, you can whatever you're thinking, it's probably that or worse.
Yeah. Like, kind of insane just to like kind of look back. I mean, obviously this is like our last live show of the year, so it's kind of strange to look back. I think this year we've had a pretty good year. Like, we've recorded a lot of stuff you haven't heard yet. We're still trying to figure out how the evergreen schedule works. Like, I want to make sure when I record something, I'm not referencing how nice it is outside and it comes out in the middle of like February.
In general, when we say evergreen, I think most people know what we mean, but the idea behind it is, the evergreen trees, they don't lose their leaves or their needles or anything. They're good to release whenever. And
yeah.
We've done that in the past where we've done maybe a month or two of programming ahead, but we've decided that, instead of sticking to a strict, schedule of we record this day of the week, we release, we bank a whole bunch of extra episodes that are things that aren't topical. We did have to, we'll say one thing, we did have to move one show that wasn't meant to be evergreen, but had to move, so when people listen to our Mortal Kombat
Yeah,
discussion?
we recorded that literally the day after it got canceled, or it got moved to May. So we're gonna record the animated specials, me, Ken, and maybe Dave, probably during the springtime.
Yeah,
But we're like,
'cause-
God damn it!
Because the initial longer form retrospective, which I wasn't a part of, other than getting it prepped, I had it ready, and you're like, all right, have this ready to go for. We recorded it during our summer break, and you're like, hey, have this ready to go on the first week, whatever this weekend was in October, and then you said, hold up, cancel that shit, move it to next year, and I'm like, next year? I didn't even know the news had broken that the movie had moved, and it's like, well, we're gonna have a show that we recorded like 10 months earlier.
Yeah, that was not what I expected. I mean, Hollywood
So-
has been really weird this year with like moving stuff around. I mean, even stuff I wanted to talk about for the Game Awards, because I know you and Ken did a thing this year, and I know one of the games I really enjoyed this year was Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I just found out they're not doing the Season's Pass anymore. So, Claws of Awaji, hope you liked it, because that's all you're getting. Maybe some smaller content. And I was like,
I mean,
really?
and,
Really?
And then on the other side of the spectrum for that, they release a free full DLC for Mirage that was not announced before.
Yeah, they're just like, so.
Well, I think
Is
that this is if I had to make a quick prediction before we go into our regular stuff without going too much on a tangent, I feel like Ubisoft is cleaning their slate.
Yeah, I've heard there's been a pretty big shakeup at the top levels of Ubisoft. So,
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, how many years has it been since we had a Tom Clancy game? 5 years?
Yeah, well, we had that Extraction game or whatever the hell it was called a couple years ago, but it wasn't very good.
Basically, it was an expansion that they tried to charge full price for.
Yeah, and it was
and it
lame.
and it was not great. And then you've had, I'm assuming the Division 2 is still probably running pretty strong.
Yes, and there is some kind of an expansion coming for that in the next little bit, I think.
Beyond that, they had the original brand new Splinter Cell game. Not talking the remake, but there was a new Splinter Cell game that was revealed. That's what turned into X Defiant, which is already dead.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had a like sequel to Breakpoint or what's the other? We haven't had a like Future Soldier game. There hasn't been anything else in the franchise, and we're waiting on things. There hasn't been any other really new properties outside of like the Avatar game. Like there's not a whole. I feel like they're cleaning their slate because they just opened up that new management firm, that subdivision of the company that's partially owned by
Tencent, is it?
Yeah, probably. I think it's either Tencent or one of those, or NC Soft or one of those ones.
Mhm.
And to insulate themselves from a hostile takeover, this was a smart move. They made a new subsidy that's what the company has invested in, but that's the division that is handling all of the Tom Clancy and Assassin's Creed franchises.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what else do they have other than Rayman? Right?
Maybe The Crew, maybe?
That's Tom
For
Clancy.
Honor?
The Crew. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Crew for, they got a few things. So that makes me think that there's the main divisions, all the other studios, basically all of the Canadian studios are now run by this other company that they own.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so they're clearly clean. They were clearing out everything that was on their back burner, and now they have to start from scratch, is what I feel like, other than, Prince of Persia and whatever's coming. So we'll see. Like there's it's been weird, man.
Yeah. Other than that, though, to kind of talk about the week that I've had, as of this recording, I literally just came back from the Guelph Storm's teddy bear toss game. The goal was scored by Charlie Paquette, our captain, and it was kind of cool because I go to this claw game parlor that's in our mall right next to our Toys R Us, and I watch a YouTuber named Arcade Matt, and I've been watching how he does it. He talks about techniques for claw games. I've gotten exceedingly good at it, so much so I went up to the Claw Games store this last week and they were in there tuning all of the machines. And funnily enough, now that they've retuned all the machines, I can't seem to win anymore. Or at least they've changed the grip strength on the ones that used to pay out a lot. So that kind of sucks, but I'm determined to win. But still, yeah, I brought like a crap ton of like little plushies and stuff like that, so that was pretty good. We won against the Sudbury Wolves 6-2. That was pretty cool. I am in knee deep in dice preparing for my TT RPG. I've got some stuff that has to be moved to next year, only because some stuff has to be shipped because it's food products. I actually contacted a cool company, and they're sending me these adventure rations that are
that's neat.
D&D branded. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I've wanted to get them for a while, but they're like, we have to fill out all these forms. Don't worry, we're going to do something. So that'll probably be in our Valentine's Day gift guide.
Oh, because international with food, that makes sense.
Exactly. So
You would think that, like, people always say, oh, it's hard to ship things with batteries. It's harder to ship it with food, because it's not just that it can spoil, it's that each country has a different standard for food safety.
yeah, I mean, it's different when it's candy, because like I reviewed Brass
Yeah.
Dragon Bistro a couple of weeks ago, and they were really good to me. In fact, I'm almost out of them, which
I think
sucks.
it's like hard candy, things that are non-perishable and that are
Mm-hmm.
hard candy, no problem. It's when you get into weird things like if they're like, oh, this is
Beef
a really
jerky.
cool
Yeah.
anything that's a meat product, anything that has dairy, and anything that can potentially go bad, like pretzels and things like that. You think it'd be like, why? It'll just go stale. It's like, it's not about that. It's about like introducing certain, like, they have to check what chemicals were used in the production and all that shit. It's
Yeah.
easy when it's candy, because what's candy? It's just hard sugar.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to think of what else have I done this week. I played one of our review games today. I'm going to give you my analysis of Call of Duty Black Ops 7 on the Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and PC. In addition to that, JT is going to be doing a review for this show, one of his picks for the holiday gift guide. And what else do we have for review this week, Alex?
I have the new Kirby game to talk about.
Ooh, Air Rider. So yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
fairly fun. Other than that, I guess before we throw things to the news, what have you been up to very, very quickly?
Busy, obviously, going over all the gift guide stuff, organizing that. Maintenance stuff on the website, getting things prepped for when we start to design the new version of the site, as well as Christmassy gift. I'm trying to get all my Christmas shopping, everything done before we do like our gift guides and do all of our other stuff, so that I'm free to not think about gifts for anybody. I love, me, I love picking out the right gifts for people, giving things. For me, it's like, I love giving things even more than I love getting them. But it's also something that I will stress out about. Like, if I don't have my gift shopping done by like mid-second week of December, I start to freak out.
Yeah, I'm
like,
kind of the same way.
I start to go, like, it's one, I'm worried about money. I'm like, oh God, am I going to go over budget? But then I start to worry, like, did I forget somebody?
Yeah.
And, or is it going to arrive? So I'm trying to get all that stuff sorted. I've got some of it done. I've been working on some projects. For people that have been listening for a bit, they know that I've gone and I've picked up some older consoles to work with. First thing I did was put a hard drive with an adapter into a PS2 that I picked up a couple months ago, and I was able to back up a bunch of games onto it that I owned. And then I got last 4 weeks ago or so, I got an original Xbox and did a hardware mod on. Well, I guess not hardware mod. I did a hard drive replacement with an SSD, because that's now a new thing you can do. So I still have to go in and like check like the clock capacitor and stuff, but I was able to take a bunch of games, because I went through my storage. I had about 7 original Xbox titles that I forgot I owned, and I went through and I soft modded the system, and I'm backing up all the disks to the hard drive to test. So I was messing with that. And then randomly, I have gone out for a day, came back, and my dad had messaged me, and he's like, hey, I found something on Marketplace that you might have wanted. If you want it, it's only $35. And I went, what is it? And it was an Xbox 360 E edition, like the final one that came out when the Xbox One came out, when they redesigned it that final time, which for the longest time nobody wanted, because they're like, oh, you can't modify it, you can't do these things with it. Now you can. It's as of like this year. And I was like, oh, I'll mess around with that. And I also still have a bunch of 360 games physical that I just had forgotten to trade in or sell. And I was like, well, let's see, can I do anything with this? Oh, you can actually replace the hard drive with an SSD now as well. So I'm thinking like future-proofing these systems, that, some of the games that I have are on 360 are ones that aren't backwards compatible with the Xbox Series X. I also sold my Series X when I got my Switch 2. So as far as the modern Xbox consoles, all I've got is a Series S. And it's like, that doesn't do me any good if I want to play my physical discs, right? So that's been a project. I've just been messing with that. And then like just 3 days ago, I got a message again from my dad. He's like, I've got something. You've been modifying these things and I've got something that I've wanted for a while, because he was looking for a Blu-ray player because he's got a bunch of physical media, but he didn't have any a working Blu-ray player. He had an old one that died, and he goes, if I bring this to you, can you work on it? And it's a PS3 Slim. And I went, yeah, I'll clean it up for you. So I'm cleaning it up, replacing the hard drive, making sure everything works, and then he's going to have a new player. So he's actually going to be going, I think tomorrow, he's taking the train into your town in Guelph, and he's picking up from somebody off of Marketplace one of the Blu-ray remotes. Because they have surprisingly become hard to find. They were, remember, like $5, for a long time. Everywhere had them. But he's like, is it worth it? I'm like, well, yeah, that way you don't have to use the game remote. You don't have to use the game controller. You can just use that. And he goes, does it work? I'm like, those things are built like tanks. You probably had one of those, right?
I did.
Yeah, and because they were Bluetooth, you don't have to point it at anything. It just works. The batteries work. And I'm like, yeah, like that, because that way, like, I'm like, Dad, if you want to borrow any of my Blu-rays, I've got my wall of TV shows and sci-fi movies. You can totally borrow them. So, and the other thing he's keeping an eye out for now is, because he's like, well, does it play those 4K? I'm like, nope. But an Xbox One S does, and I showed him the one that I have, and he's like, all right, I'll keep an eye out. So he's going in full like dad mode, gamer mode, hunting for things, but not necessarily for games. He's hunting for it because he's like, well, how much is a 4K player? I'm like, minimum 300 to 400 new. How much is a used one S? And I was like, 150 to 175. He's like, well, then I'll get one of those. So that's sort of been like my busybody work, like my tech mode tinkering. That's what I've been doing for the last few days, on top of reading and watching a bunch of things, and just getting things prepped for the Game Awards that's upcoming, and for our holiday gift guide. So I just sort of been juggling a bunch of things.
Yeah, same here. Like I said, this has been a very stressful week for both of us. I'm then this weekend, this coming weekend, I'm going to be participating in the Guelph Santa Claus run, where I'm raising money for Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Guelph. As far as I know, according to my running mate Liam, we are the #1 team.
Oh, what, are you going to wear like a costume or something?
Yes, we are wearing our full Aliens plate carrier, so we're going to be out in full battle dress. We're going to bring my pulse rifle.
Do you at least have a Santa Claus hat to go on top?
Yes, they are actually supplying us with that, so we're going to have a full Santa
better.
Claus. Yeah, it's going to look ridiculous. So hopefully I'll have some pictures. I'm not the only wheelchair user that's ever done it. There used to be a guy, he's now since passed, Bob. He did it a couple of years ago. So yeah, I got the inspiration from him, and
we'll keep on the tradition. And that's
Exactly.
something that people don't realize. Like, they automatically, the default, unless you have somebody in your life that uses a mobility device, the default is when you hear walk or run, you're just like, oh, it's for athletes only. And it's like, no. A lot of times it's about the community building. So, if you want to participate and you're in a manual or electric wheelchair, no, who says you can't?
Exactly. I mean, as long as the path is fairly clear,
Yeah.
I should be okay. I'm going to send Liam to go do a scout out later this week. We should be good. But guys, that is going to do it for the intro of the show. So we're going to take a break as we dive into the world of guns, mayhem, and whatever the hell the skibbity toilet boss is. This is our review of Call of Duty Black Ops 7. We'll be back, guys, right after this. Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. We're here to talk to you about a game we got sent for review from our friends over at Activision. I'm going to be talking about Call of Duty Black Ops 7. We were sent this for Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and the PC. I spent most of my time on the Xbox Series X version of the game, and my other team members were working on the other platforms. However, I do have to set out some expectations in this review. We did encounter multiple technical issues while trying to proceed in the campaign mode. Mostly, we couldn't get very far at times due to no checkpoints, and we were suffering hard crashes. I suffered a massive loss of campaign progress on the Xbox Series X. However, due to Activision releasing kind of a fix or something, some of the end-game content or post-game content was released, and you could play the PvE mode, which is something that's been done in previous years where you go out in a area kind of like Warzone, and there's different objectives like secure a lockbox, destroy toxin canisters, fight monsters, and eventually extract via VTOL. And it's actually kind of fun. I actually kind of enjoyed that mode, but I spent a vast majority of my time in the multiplayer, as that's kind of what I'm known for this. And this will be the year that I remember, the year that my Xbox Elite 2 controller died during this review. So much so I had to go out and replace it. That's money I didn't want to spend, but that's neither here nor there. So in terms of the campaign mode, well, what can I really say about it? Everybody's talked about it to death. It is kind of a psyop weird thing, getting infected by weird gas by this entity known as the Guild, diving into trauma, and you fight the skibbity toilet guy. There's no other way around it. I really can't describe it any more epic than that. There have been multiple allegations of reuse AI assets, and frankly, I didn't have a lot of fun with the campaign. It just, which is weird because I normally am the guy who plays the campaign first. I do like that what you do in the campaign affects the multiplayer in terms of unlocking camos and unlocking weapon levels. That's great. Actually, that's really awesome. That I do appreciate. Having an online co-op campaign, not so much. I wish it was more balanced. You had AI teammates. That would really make it really awesome. But that's not the case here, and that's really kind of unfortunate. And yeah, it's just it's not great. It's just not fun, and I really can't recommend that you play it despite its short length from what I understand. However, the multiplayer is a little bit more fun. It's very similar. I mean, as of this recording, I played a lot on the Double XP weekend because of Nuketown, which is like my favorite map from this era. I've always liked Nuketown. I've been grinding guns all weekend. And yeah, I actually had a pretty fun time with it. I will say, time to kill feels a little bit off compared to previous years, but then again, I tend to specialize in LMGs. That's just sort of the way that I play, especially on Nuketown. I like to wall bang people. Maybe if I played with assault rifles or SMGs, I might have had a faster time to kill. And definitely anybody who had a sniper rifle against me had a fantastic weekend. And I only tend to play objective modes. I play stuff like domination, hardpoint, kill confirmed. I don't do a lot of TDM. I don't do a lot of free-for-all. But it's nice how they brought back game modes like Mosh Pit and stuff like that, and I really do appreciate those game modes. The guns this year do feel pretty good. Interesting kill streaks, but though I tend to stick with more of the support ones like UAVs, counter UAVs, occasionally care packages. I tend to use sentry turrets to protect objectives. They do have interesting things again with the perks this year, stuff where you can have like maybe your field stuff recharges quicker. There's this system in there. I'm still trying to figure some of it out, but you can unlock different things for your gear. Like you can maybe have a longer stun duration. Your frags may be more impactful. It's kind of called the overclock system. And you can get different specializations from your perks, whether you're going more aggressive, tactical, or whatever, and it does unlock additional score, buffing, stuff like that. I tend to stay in my lane. I'm an objective-based game player, and that's kind of what I dig. So that being said, like I said, the multiplayer is fun. In terms of the other things in the multiplayer, again, there's been a lot of news and a lot of other outlets have covered the, shall I say, controversy surrounding calling cards. I find myself less driven to prestige this year, simply because I don't like a lot of the artwork I'm seeing on the calling cards. Like, for me, the best year I think we ever had, honestly, was Cold War. In the last couple of years, Cold War was my favorite. Maybe Modern Warfare 2 was okay too. I really like the multiplayer maps in there. I do like how lobbies seem to be persistent. Like, it's not like they're just wiping them like they were before. Like, you can actively leave a lobby, which is kind of nice. I do appreciate that. I am finding the games are really quiet. I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk on a mic, and I played a lot. And I don't know, it's kind of like a ghost town on console. Maybe it's different on PC. I do watch a number of Call of Duty streamers, and even they were saying it's a lot quieter out there now. So I don't know. To talk about Warzone, it's Warzone. What do you expect? Whatever. I do like the different operators this year. I'd say probably my favorite one is probably the robot guy, Reaper, I think his name is. Again, I just like kind of robots. I'm really curious to see what happens when the store starts to expand its offerings. As of this recording, there is a veterans bundle you can get, which goes to support wounded warriors. I want to say it's like $20 Canadian or so. I have a lot of XP tokens left over from other years, so it's been really helping. But then again, having a double XP weekend, it's kind of fun. I feel like my guns are leveling up pretty quick, which is kind of nice, but I maybe should expand what I'm doing. I would say the most fun you're probably going to have with Call of Duty Black Ops 7, it's going to be the multiplayer. If you're a Warzone player, you already know what to expect. I've been out of the meta for quite some time as to what are the best guns, the best perks to be taking, basically how your playstyle defines how you play this multiplayer shooter. And it's ultimately going to come down to this. Do I recommend it? If you're on Game Pass, you might as well, right? As to going out and purchasing this one, I'm going to have to say probably not. This year, it didn't draw me in, and a lot of that has to do with campaign problems I had. Now, while I do appreciate the PvE mode, which is pretty cool, and there are other players in the world that can assist you with extraction or objectives. You can't kill them and they can't kill you, but still, I don't know. I really wanted this to be the game to bring me back. I love the idea of the psych messing with your head thing, but when one of your final bosses is like a giant Michael Rooker, that's a little too weird for me, man. So Call of Duty Black Ops 7, if you're on Game Pass, maybe give it a download, and maybe if you can get your buddies together to play some multiplayer, that's certainly a good way to kill some time, because Christmas noobs are coming. But beyond that, I'm going to have to say this is a year you could probably skip, and looks like the guild won, so I guess that's just kind of the way it is. So once again, thank you to Activision for sending us codes over for the Vault edition of this game. Once again, this game was reviewed on Xbox Series S, X, PlayStation 5, and PC.
The Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
Gossip, rumors, panic in the streets. We're lucky.
This Week in Geek.
News.
Welcome back to the final live show of This Week in Geek.net. I'm your host, Mike the Birdman, joined by my brother, my compatriot, my zombie friend, Alex the producer.
That's right, Alex the producer here. Speaking of zombies, and actually before we mention that, I'll give a couple of my inputs from what I played, because I had probably a different, I would say, experience than you had, because I played it on some different platforms than you. Mm-hmm. I was provided, obviously, a review code, and thanks to them for sending it for PC on Steam as well as PlayStation 5. And I installed it on my PS5. It was like 400 gigabytes. Technically, you could install less, it says, but not to get all the full features and packs and all that. So I just let it do its thing. And I was playing it on there, and I went, oh, single player mode is really meant for co-op, even though they say it scales. I will mention, I am usually somebody who likes to play the campaign more than anything. And usually that means I solo it. Sometimes if there's been a co-op mode, we've done it together, that sort of thing. My biggest negative for this game, beyond, other complaints that you'll see people saying, is the no checkpoints. So you can get right to the end of a mission, and if you make one false move, you have to start over from the beginning. And I was like, oh, no, that's not how Alex plays games. That's how Alex takes things and throws it out the window. But then I went, wait a minute, let me play it on the PC. I go to install it, and it says you can't play this game because you don't have safe mode enabled on on your BIOS. I'm like, first of all, yes, I do. Second of all, every other game that has the same anti-cheat stuff works just fine. So I was like, something's not right. So I couldn't play it on PC for review. And that's why, I didn't do a big major joint thing with you, but I've played enough to get a feel for it. But we should probably mention zombies, because in previous years, that's been where we basically bonded with you, me, or our friend Liam, and any groups that we play with. I'm not, me, I'm not like the Wild West open world, Warzone style multiplayer. That's not what I'm usually into. But zombies, especially when we played Cold War, that was like we played during the pandemic. How many months did we play at nighttime where we're just like
easily 6 hours a night for like 4 or 5 months, if not longer?
Yeah, at least 3 or 4 times a week. And it was that's how much we got into it. And since then, zombies have been up and down and all around. So I guess let's get your opinion. What do you think of all the zombie stuff this time?
I like how the map is kind of big, similar to Cold War, yet not. Like, you can move to different areas. There's vehicles, so that's kind of cool. The Easter egg, it's way too complicated to do solo, which is to be expected. I like it, but I don't love it. The thing is, this year's zombies, like for me, a lot of the zombies is I love the story. This year, what's happening? A guy who kind of looks like Walton Goggins shows up and says, I am the pack. I don't even know. So I'm like, okay. And it was ludicrously hard. I still had fun, but it didn't engage me. Plus, now they brought back the gobble gum system. I refuse to pay for that. You have to research your upgrades. Like, I used to specialize in toxic growth, so you and Liam could hold down certain sections while I worked on something. And I don't know, like, I think there's potential there. I think the zombies community will come to embrace it, but it's the gobble gums that I think kind of kill it for me.
My final thoughts of this is, I still think at its core, it's still a good game, but I feel like they've gotten into like a TikTok situation where every other year is the major game. Like last year was a major game, and I loved the single player. Like that base building and everything in Black Ops 6 was great. It was very well thought out, expansive, ready to go at launch. This feels a little rushed, even though there was a lot of money put into it. There was a good voice actors, mocap people, everything. There wasn't as much marketing as we've seen in past years. Like I sort of had a feeling that maybe this was going to be an off year for that. And I say off year, but it's still a good game and good franchise. It's just
the competition has changed.
Yes, especially this year, there's been bigger competition. So like my final thoughts are, if you have Game Pass, it's still worth it. If you have Game Pass on PC or Xbox, worth playing right now. If you're somebody who's like hardcore, like almost competitive, always playing, you're probably going to want it and always going to want to buy it anyway. If you're on like PlayStation, or if you're on a platform you don't have Game Pass for, you might want to wait until there's either more content or some major updates to rebalance things and move things around, and maybe work out some of the bugs on PC so that, because I wasn't the only person that was saying they were having trouble getting the game to launch on PC.
Yeah, so, like season 1, I think, drops on December 4th. So we'll see what happens with it. Yeah. I'm not terribly optimistic, but you never know. I've been wrong before.
It's also a series that evolves pretty quickly because of the install base. So, I'm saying if it's on Game Pass, yeah. If it's not on Game Pass, your mileage may vary currently.
All right, guys. So we are going to move into our 2 news stories this week because we have other things to do, and we just have other things to do. So our first story comes courtesy of Variety.com, though this has been reported by a variety of outlets. If you see what I did there. Far Cry TV series set at FX from Noah Hawley and Rob Mack. Noah Hawley's the guy from Aliens Earth. So FX has ordered a series adaptation of Ubisoft's Far Cry video games from Noah Hawley and Rob Mack, Variety has learned. In addition to co-creating the series, Mack, formerly McKierney, will also star. The series will stream on Hulu in the US and Disney Plus internationally. While exact plot details are being kept under wraps, the series will follow an anthology format like the games and feature different casts and setting each season. I think that's really smart. Getting to work alongside Noah Hawley is a dream realized, said Mack. Ubisoft has had a remarkably generous Sorry. Remarkably generous in trusting us with one of the most iconic video game worlds ever created. Through it all, my FX family continues to lift me up with their constant belief and support. The series deepens both Mac and Holly's relationship with FX. Mac famously created and stars in the FX comedy series It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which aired its 17th season earlier this year. It's the longest running live action sitcom in American history. He also stars and executive produces FX docuseries Welcome to Wrexham, which just aired its fourth season and has won 10 Emmy Awards so far. Holly is the main creator of fellow FX anthology series Fargo, as well as the recently renewed sci-fi series Alien Earth. 5 seasons of Fargo have aired to date, with the show collectively winning 7 Emmy Awards out of 70 nominations and 3 Golden Globes out of 14 nominations. Holly also created the FX Marvel series Legion, which has aired for 3 seasons. The series brings Mac back into the business with Ubisoft. He co-created and starred in the Apple TV series Mythic Quest, which you showed me a while ago, for 4 seasons with Ubisoft Film and Television, also producing the show. What I love about the Far Cry game franchise is that it's an anthology. Each game is a variation of a theme, the same way each season of Fargo is a variation on a theme, said Holly, to create a big action show that can change from year to year while always exploring the nature of humanity. Though this complex and chaotic lens is a dream come true, I'm excited to partner with Rob and bring our shared irreverent, ambitious sensibility to the screen. Mac will executive produce under his More Better Productions banner, while Holly will executive produce under his overall deal with FX and Disney Entertainment Television via 26 Keys. Amelia Serrano for 26 Keys, blah, 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 blah. It just goes into a lot of detail.
Well, this makes perfect sense because what is FX known for? American Horror Story and their anthologies.
Yeah.
In modern day, it's think of the anthologies, American Horror Story and its spin-offs, American Crime Story, as well as American Sports Story, which is dramatizations of real stories. Previously they had The Shield and all that, but they're mostly known now for their full season anthologies, where maybe they use the same cast, but then they get shuffled around for completely new stories and completely new worlds.
Yeah,
which would work. You could get a stable of really good character actors that you could. In one season of the Far Cry show, the main bad guy could be a certain actor. And then season 2, where it's a different story, that might be the hero in season 2, playing a completely different person. And that works. If you make this 8-episode miniseries every single year, there's a lot of cool shit you could do there.
Like the Far Cry video game series began back in, I want to say, 2004. Now, this is not the first time Far Cry has been adapted. Uwe Boll did it back in 2008 with one of our friends of the show, Tom from thegameheroes.com, along with Craig Skismas from Screw Attack. There was also a Captain Rex Laserhawk, which is sort of the Far Cry Blood Dragon animated series. Now, if I was the Mac and Holly, the first game I would adapt Far Cry 3 without a doubt. You want Michael Mando, because you want Voss. Next season, I might do Far Cry 6 because the odds of getting Giancarlo Esposito probably fairly high if you ask him really nicely, because he was a wonderful bad guy in that game.
He's had history of working on these kind of shows. So, was the first game, I know the movie starred what's his name, Till Schweiger, the German actor, and he was cast pretty well. Everybody was saying it could have been somebody else. No, he looked. People forget that was the Uwe Boll movie that was considered okay. You know what I mean? Like it was. Remember, he made the Postal movie with what's his name from Titus.
Yeah,
and it's like there were ones that were ridiculously bad. I think this was the movie that was considered his most competent, and it had a $30 million budget, and it didn't do well. But I remember playing Far Cry on PC when it first came out. That the plot was you crash landed in some water on an island, and then you uncover bad things happening. But I can't remember
drug dealers or something.
I think the second game had super soldier zombies or something. And then obviously where it took off was the third game, which had the
definition of insanity intro with Voss. Yeah.
And then in the fourth one,
that was the Himalayas one where you were fighting with Pa Ming, I think his name was, or something.
I was going to say if they adapt that one, I do think the third one should be the first one adapted, unless they want to go safe. Like the safe mode to make it dirt cheap, which I don't think they're doing, would be, you know, the first or second game where it was a little more grounded.
Yeah.
But you're right, the third one, I think the fourth one would work too. It depends on where they can, if they can go to like the Philippines or someplace and be like, give us a deal on location shooting, then I can see them picking from that. But like the fourth one, are they going to have like, if it comes out, it'll be on TV, are they going to have like an alternate scene on Blu-ray where you could just, you know, change the angle, have it sit for 20 minutes, like if you let it sit at like the Blu-ray menu for 20 minutes, does it just play a different ending?
Yeah, he just tells you to go home.
Which I got that ending, and I was not really big into the franchise, but it was one of those games where they dropped to like $10 or $20, and I was like, I'll pick it up, and I had not read the hype or anything. And I remember I went to go make myself a sandwich, and I started, you know, cooking and putting things together, and I came back and it was rolling credits, and I went, what the fuck did I do? And then I had to look it up, and it's like, oh shit, if you just, he's like, hey, if you wait here, you know, I know you're was it like, he's like, you're hurt,
Or I'll go make some tea or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna go make some tea. We're gonna get something food to you, and we're gonna get this sorted out, and we'll get you back to your family. Don't worry, I'm here to help you. And if you just sit there for 20 minutes, he goes, tortures somebody, murders them, comes back, and he's like, all right, let's get you the help you need. And then he's like, let's get you going. Have a nice day, sir. And he just goes and helps you. But if you're a curious bastard, you get fucked for 20 hours of gameplay.
Yeah. I mean, like, other things I'd like to see out of it, like, I can tell you right now, they're not going to adapt Far Cry Primal. It is not going to happen. No. But I don't think they'll do Far Cry 5 either.
Not right now.
Not with the politically charged environment. Far Cry 6 is a possibility.
6 is a possibility if they sign Giancarlo. If they get him right away as a marquee name, yes. If not,
maybe season 2 or 3, maybe.
If you're not, you say Voss. It'll be 3 or 4, unless they want to literally start at the beginning and the idea is to adapt them in order. I think the correct order is you start with 4 if you get the location. If the whole point is they get like a really good deal. Otherwise, 3 is perfect because there's so many countries and locations that you could like.
You could shoot in Florida and it would reasonably pass for it.
Or for Hawaii. So like they may shift things around a little bit, but I like, or they could, you know, if they wanted to save money, they shoot in South Africa or something. But like, you know, on location shooting, but pretend it's somewhere else. There's a lot of things you can do, but you're right. It's 3 and 4. That's where if the money is to get like to hook in the general wide audience that has never played the games, but they've probably very likely heard, maybe not of 3. Like gamers have heard of 3 because how good the villain was. I feel like 4 has almost transcended into like regular, like I only play, you know, FIFA games, but I've heard of Far Cry 4. That was good. Was that not considered like the highlight of the franchise?
See, I always thought 3 was like, in my opinion, for Far Cry, it would go 3 is the most accessible and most widely known just because of the insanity thing. Then I might argue 6. I really think so.
I think 6 has like the marquee value because of the name.
Exactly, the name and the marketing. Because the marketing was everywhere for like 6 months.
And he was coming off of the high of like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul stuff, right? So like you've got that, but I think 4, when 4 came out, it was like a critical highlight, I think, of the franchise, wasn't it? Like
I think it was one of those games that really defined that year in gaming, especially from all its technical achievements.
I was going to say, I think that's one of the third-party cross-platform games. That is one of the highlights of the PS4 generation.
100% agree.
It's like that and the and like the Saints Row 4, like those, when I think of cross-platform, like mass appeal, you know, games of that era, that you know aren't your GTAs and that, I think it's those. So I think like, whereas it was still, Far Cry was always more grounded, and then Saints Row was always like, hey, here's a dildo gun. Here's a dildo gun. Oh, by the way, you have to save the planet from aliens with Rowdy Roddy Piper reprising his role from They Live, and the president is
David, I think.
David from They Live, and it's not Rowdy Roddy Piper is voicing somebody. No, you're saving the world with Rowdy Roddy Piper. Like,
Yeah,
it was peak end of like the like it was like the G4 TV, all that sort of stuff. It was the end of the Spike TV era of like ridiculous, hilarious, like frat bro gaming. And
Yeah.
we haven't really captured it since then.
I mean, honestly, if Netflix were to make a Saints Row animated series, that might be really fun.
Yes, I don't think you can do it in live action unless
Your
like,
budget's huge.
Like, I could see, it would only work if like Ryan Reynolds was producing it, and it was like Free Guy was the closest to that we got, right?
Yeah, I'd agree.
So, but you're right. Like, I think if they did one of those things where they signed like an anime deal to have, like they did for what was it, the Suicide Squad anime and that sort of stuff,
Suicide Squad and the Pokemon stuff and stuff
or
like
like
that. Yeah.
or like Edge Runners, that, like if you got like
Castlevania.
if you got like Studio Trigger or somebody to do a Saints Row series, it would be batshit crazy. And you could totally do it. But yeah, I think this is a really cool idea. Like, out of all the Ubisoft franchises, it's the easiest one for them to do, because why? They don't have to pay for Tom Clancy licensing for the TV show.
Yeah, and like even some of the Tom Clancy shows that have been adapted, like if you can believe it, there was a NetForce show at one point. The Jack Ryan show on Amazon was okay. I actually really like it, but I wanted Rainbow Six. I wanted John Clark. I wanted Domingo. I like Jack Ryan. I do, but I want John Clark.
And a Splinter Cell show.
Anime maybe, but because Michael Ironside, it's kind of old.
It's hard to find like a young actor that has that gravitas to do. You could do it, obviously, but like I don't know if it would have the pull. And
the guy from Conviction and the guy from Blacklist, they weren't bad, but it wasn't Ironside. Like, Conviction's a great game when you can get it to run, because it's one of those games that kind of works on Steam now, unless you got like a backwards compatible version on Xbox.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that it's the best way to play it is if you have a backwards compatible version. That's basically it right now.
Yeah,
which I could see them in the future. If this takes off, I could see them remastering a lot of their older stuff, thinking that there'd be more of an audience for these things. But again, like, there's not a lot of other franchises. We know that like Prince of Persia would be way too expensive, because period pieces, magic, and all that stuff, it would either look like shit. And I know that they don't want to go the route of like Xena or that sort of stuff. They don't want to make it hokey, because you could do it dirt cheap and hokey and have it be fun, but they wouldn't want to do that for their stuff. So you're not going to see that for that Assassin's Creed or Prince of Persia. You're not going to see that.
They tried with Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender, and I'm a big fan of the franchise, and I still haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. My brother reminded me of something, and it almost gave me like Vietnam flashbacks. He goes, "Oh, you know what? Like his wife and him watched the other day, the Jake Gyllenhaal Prince of Persia movie, which I forgot existed."
I don't mind it, but it wasn't what I wanted, because it's Jake Gyllenhaal is not. That's. No.
And Ben Kingsley, who they do a throwaway line to explain why he looks British, is he's a baby that was found in the street and adopted. And it's like, he goes, he rewound it and he goes, that was ADR'd in, because you could tell that when they did it for test audiences, people were like, he's not Persian. He's not a Persian king. And so they've tried, right? But those are expensive projects to work with. And even some of their like more original stuff that they've done that could work, like the two shows that would work best, things that they make. Far Cry is the one that works the best. It's easiest to adapt, and there's no licensing. And the other would be like, I think it's time we get a really high quality animated Rayman franchise movie or TV show or something. And that would be something that maybe they can look at the future. I do think, roundabout way of saying this, out of all the big third-party franchises that do this sort of thing, Far Cry makes the most sense. I think it'd be the cheapest to do while still being close to the source material.
Well, yeah, because it's mostly just gunplay and clever writing. You could do Assassin's Creed, but you need the budget and you need the historical setting. I don't know if I'd keep up with the Animus stuff, because after Assassin's Creed 4, no one really cared, because the one guy who was in... It's confusing, and I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but... yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'm looking forward to this. I think it'll be cool. I mean, I trust Holly, especially. Aliens Earth genuinely surprised me. Very surprised with how good it was.
And looking at that, like, if we're talking about programs on FX, like their current slate, I feel like people are slipping on cable because everybody thinks it's streaming only, because a lot of FX shows are now produced by FX on linear, like cable like this, but they also put them on premium streaming on different platforms, right? So depending on your country, it might be different. It could be Hulu, or it could be, I think all of their stuff shows up on Disney Plus in Canada.
Most of it, yeah.
Or at least most of it. Sorry, I shouldn't say all of it. Most of it does. But like their current slate's pretty good. American Horror Story is like, it's long running now. We're approaching, what is it, like 15 years almost of it
Something
being on
like
the air.
that.
American Crime Story, Sports Story I mentioned, Grotesquerie, which is a horror show, which I don't know if you've seen it. It's worth watching at least. Alien Earth, and the other one is the show that won like every award last year, which was Shogun, which was fantastic. So they've got a good slate. I don't. If you're worried, this is not a case of stars. I feel like stars 9 times out of 10 is a miss nowadays, as well as most other cable. USA Network doesn't really produce shows anymore unless they do a partner with Hulu or something. Sci-Fi doesn't really do shows anymore. Most of these channels don't really do shows, outside of premium cable, like, HBO and Showtime still put on really good programming. But right now, I think FX is like, if you're going to do basic cable, that's the ideal channel to still go with.
Yeah, 100%. So we're going to move on to our last story of the year, and this one kind of surprised me. So this one comes courtesy of comicbook.com, and it says, today is a bad day for Power Rangers fans. The Power Rangers franchise is in a period of flux at the moment, with some aspects of the franchise still in limbo, while other corners are roaring back to life. The Playmates Mighty Morphin Power Rangers toy line recently launched, and is currently in stores with an upcoming live-action TV series in the works for Disney+. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a new Power Rangers TV series since Cosmic Fury, and now one of the most consistent Power Rangers entities is coming to an end. Over the last 5 years, one of the most consistent aspects of the Power Rangers franchise has been the comics created by Boom Studios. And while previous year storylines came to a close with a new series launched in its wake known as Power Rangers Prime, there was a bold shakeup on the comic side of the franchise, but an early solicitation from Penguin Random House has revealed that the series is coming to an end much earlier than expected, so it's not a pleasant day for Power Rangers fans in the least. The official details for Power Rangers Prime 15 were revealed on Penguin Random House's official website, and the official description reads that issue 15 is the penultimate chapter in the series. That means issue 16 will be the final issue, and it's not clear what will happen with the franchise at Boom Studios after Prime is concluded. And then you can check out whatever. And it says, the Legion Ranger has arrived. In this penultimate chapter of the Prime Power Rangers adventures, our heroes must fight to take their lives against a dangerous new villain against who might just be a familiar face to the fans of the Zeo Rangers. As tensions rise and family bonds reach a breaking point, the Prime Rangers are tested never before. Will they find courage in the face of galactic threat to fight for each other and their home superstar Melissa Flores, alongside acclaimed artist Federico Sorresi, who also drew the Green Hornet and Miss Fury, raised the stakes for this iconic franchise. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers made its Boom Comics debut in 2016, delivering a story that had many elements of the original television show, but it wasn't beholden to the canon or continuity. It began after the Green Ranger joined the team, and since then, the series has grown and to evolve to not only include Power Ranger teams and villains, but also introduce alternate universes that set up a swath of amazing additions to the franchise, including Lord Draken, the Coinless, the Solar Rangers, and much more. After the series ended that chapter of the world, a new series launched called Power Rangers Prime, which brought in Lauren Sheba and Rita Repulsa, but also introduced mostly a team of new Rangers who are living in a world that had been overtaken by the Eltarans, which is Zordon's race. There have been many new concepts in the series, and there was never specific numbers of issues mentioned when it launched, so it's not known what the original plan was for how long the series would run. That said, it does feel a bit sudden. It's not known what will happen with the Power Rangers franchise at Boom Studios in the future. We'll have to wait and see, but if this is the real end of Power Rangers comics at Boom Studios, it would certainly be the end of a truly phenomenal era of comics for franchise fans. Yeah, that struck me as kind of surprising. I actually haven't read Power Rangers Prime yet. I used to read these comics years ago. I read through most of Shattered Grid when the White Ranger came, Solar Ranger. I caught up with some of the Death Ranger stuff. But I stopped reading when the Boom Studios comic app just locked me out of all the comics I bought. And that's why I buy my comics physical now, because I thought, oh, I'm going to be digital. I'll be fine. I can take it anywhere. And then the app crashed and the studio who owned the app locked me out. I'm like, hi, can I have my comics? They're like, nope, bye. So that sucked. And I know there's been some chat in one of the Discords that you and I both kind of hang out in about there's going to be like a new Power Ranger series, and I mentioned it in the article on Disney Plus. I think maybe it's time to give Power Rangers a rest for a couple years. Yeah. Maybe see what they can do. Like, because like you have other Sentai, like I think Kamen Rider or Tokusatsu like that, like the Kamen Rider stuff. I think that's really due for something. I know the Gridman Ultraman stuff is actually kind of cool, but it's like, I don't know what you do, because the 2017 movie that we discussed earlier this year on Loose Cannon, it was actually okay, just not as well executed as we would have liked.
Also, I believe Sentai is canceled technically. Like, it's the first time this coming fall. It'll be the first time in 50 years that there's no new Super Sentai show, not like a regular show. They're doing a reimagining of, I think, a show from the early 80s where it's going to focus just on the Red Ranger.
Okay, that's interesting.
Like a solo show where there's no other Rangers. And I don't know if that's to do like the 50th anniversary, but they just said that it was a big deal because I think it aired at 7 p.m. Tokyo time. It's either 7 or 7:30 in the same time slot since like 1974. They've never missed a year ever. And now they're like, hey, by the way, no Sentai. And it's like, and people like here, like, what's the big deal? It's like, but in Japan, that's like, that would be like being told
60 minutes is just canceled or something.
No, but really for us, it's Simpsons. Yeah. That'd be like being told, like, hey, by the way, in the fall, there's no Simpsons, but there's going to be a show just on Bart. And you'd be like, what?
Yeah, it would be really weird.
Like, you're like, it's not even that it's canceled. It's that, hey, there's just no regular show. Or it's like, yeah, there's no show, but we're focusing on a Millhouse spinoff. And you're like, in the same time slot, you're like, what? Like, you don't know if you should be angry or not.
Yeah, like
even if you don't watch, like, there's going to be probably in Japan, 50% of the audience wouldn't be that watched the original show are either dead or wouldn't be watching anymore, in 50 years, right? But they're like, there's going to be people that are like, even if they don't watch, they'll be upset that things change. People don't like change. We fear change. And like, even if you don't watch The Simpsons, I'll catch like bits and pieces, as it goes. I try to watch generally, like, if I hear there's a good episode. But like, reality is there's maybe 2 good episodes a year anymore.
Halloween almost always, and then something else.
Yeah, and then I'm like, you know what? I would still be upset if it was gone because it's become an institution. Like, I'm younger than you. The show premiered when I was 1 year old.
Yeah, I was in grade 6 when it premiered for me.
You really? You would have been.
Yeah. I was in grade 6 when it premiered. I remember getting the toys.
1980. No, I'm talking about Simpsons.
Oh, no. Simpsons, yeah. That premiered 1988 or 89 for me. So, yeah, I was not too old.
You were in, like, first grade or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just using it as an example. But, like, for me, I have never known a world where The Simpsons wasn't popular or around. So that would be shocking. It'll be shocking. And I'll probably surprisingly be upset when it does eventually cancel. And with Power Rangers, for me, it premiered when I was in kindergarten. So I was the age, son. Like I can't count how many times I had to go to the principal's office because we were playing Power Rangers and
karate kicking each other.
And I kicked a guy in the nuts so hard he barfed one time. And the other time,
clearly Zordon let you do this.
It's like, no, I'm the Green Ranger. No, I'm the Green Ranger. No, I'm the Green Ranger. Bloody nose. Like, that shit just happened. I split my pants one time trying to do a jump kick. Like, things happen, right? That's boys will be boys, but that was the era, like before the era of no Pokemon cards at school, or Pogs are banned, all that sort of stuff, and no devil sticks and all this shit. Then eventually it was no tech decks. None of that. They didn't want anybody stealing or trading it. The school has a ban on playing Power Rangers, because if you looked outside in the early 90s, at least, in Ontario, I'm going to assume it's probably across Canada and the States, at any given time, it looked like a goddamn war zone, because you'd have like 300 kids pretending to do karate moves on each other and sometimes making contact. So if a teacher looked outside the window, it just looked like havoc was happening outside.
Honestly, the amount of kids that signed up for karate classes after Mighty Morphin season 1, like that's when I got into karate.
I did.
Yeah, our class was huge.
I did a year of karate and got my white belt. I guess I am technically a white belt, because people forget you need to actually earn that first belt.
Yep, I got as far as orange stripe, so not very far, but I did get my red belt and got my orange stripe.
We just couldn't afford it, but I was planning on taking more at the time, so instead we ended up doing, I think I did Cub Scouts or something, but still, like I was in that class, and I remember as a kid, like as a 5-6-year-old, being in there, and it was a joint class, boys and girls, and they asked, how many of you are here because you like Power Rangers? And it was literally every single kid, boys and girls, raised their hands. They wanted to be a Power Ranger. And I remember one kid that did it because he liked Bruce Lee. And it's like, at
respect
that age,
on that kid's name.
I mean, Bruce had been dead already almost 20 years, right? But it was like, why?
What year was this? Because I can tell you what,
92.
He saw Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Guarantee it.
Oh shit, you're right. That's probably what it was. He probably went and saw that in theaters and saw Jason Scott Lee, and he was like, I want to do that shit. So yeah, and also there was the video game, so that would make sense. But yeah, like it was like that's the reason. So this is kind of, I wonder, to tie it all back in, if them canceling the comic book is because Sentai in Japan is going through a major change.
I mean, it also brings up interesting questions, because as you guys know, I review the games from Renegade Game Studios, and we did get the Shattered Grid book earlier this year. And as far as I know, there hasn't been anything new announced from the Essence 20 line for that. Now, I may be wrong, but that's signaling. And I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what licensees do, because we got a fantastic game last year, as you guys mentioned during the Game Awards show. I'm pretty sure I mentioned Power Rangers Rita's Rewind.
Oh yeah,
it came out last December, and that's a fantastic video game. So
yeah, like a couple quirks. I think the Zord battles are repetitive, and I don't like the whole, punch,
charging
punch, block, punch, charge. If you revise that ever so slightly to not have to be forced for that, it's one of the best beat 'em ups in 25 years.
Yeah, like it's fun. I don't know. Like, I hope Boom Studios continues to do stuff. Like, my wife randomly met a couple weekends ago, Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Power Ranger, at a local comic store, The Dragon, and she's writing a new Power Rangers comic right now. So the series is still going?
Yeah, they're still going, but I have a feeling that maybe they were up and they're like, for the wider releases of things, like that's the ongoing, the bigger one.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you might get miniseries.
Yeah, I think maybe they're doing shorter runs now, or not doing like ongoing, because again, even though Power Rangers is technically separate, right? They're still having to weigh the options of like, hey, if there's not going to be a new show to market from it, in the new year or next year, and the source material in Japan is changing, will there be a Power Rangers here for the next 4 or 5 years, or are we going to take the risk and adapt that new show and make it a different thing? Like, are we going to end up calling it like, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, a Red Ranger's Journey or something? Are we going to give it a different subtitle and like readapt it? Like, this is the first time where they haven't had the formula, quote unquote, ever, right? Like, since 1992, we've had, even if we spliced episodes, made new things, changed things around, sometimes we didn't even adapt entire shows, because of the religious iconography sometimes, or things that wouldn't match with the standards in America and that. It's like there's always been the formula, and we're not going to be getting that next year from Japan.
Yeah,
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I hope the series is not done. I guess we'll see what happens. So I don't know. The future is in the morphing grid, as they say. So we're going to take another break here on This Week in Geek.net. We're going to take a break and listen to something JT has done for us this year for the holiday gift guide. So we will be back right after this, only on This Week in Geek.net.
Hey guys, JT from Saskatoon here, popping into this year's gift guide to give my thoughts on the remaster of Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. Now, I want to be upfront about this. I'm not a huge fan of fantasy RPGs. Don't get me wrong, tons of fun, but a lot of them just don't catch my fancy. But knowing the fanfare and history of this franchise, I figured it was worth it to try the remaster, and I'm glad I did. In case you don't know, Oblivion's story centers on your character as they go forth on an epic quest to save the continent of Tamriel from the machinations of a cult and their evil patron who seek to cleanse the world of quote-unquote impurities by unleashing a plague of demons. So, no pressure or anything. I have to give it to the creators at Bethesda Game Studios because the world and characters in the remaster are top-notch. As you move through the world, it feels real. Not really real, but more so than other open-world games. The game characters have the right sense of proportion and presence, and although their movement is sometimes a little janky, probably comes from the fact that the game is almost 20 years old. Still holds up though. Right from the get-go, I fell in love with the music and the background noise. From the sounds of nature to the echoes and dripping water in caves, I was immersed in the world on a level that I've seldom enjoyed before. There is this sweeping orchestral score that tickles all the right nerves, not unlike a certain movie franchise about hairy-footed men trying to destroy Sorceress Bling. Speaking about sound, the main voice cast has some heavyweights on it. We've got Patrick Stewart as the Emperor Uriel Septim, and Sean Bean as Brother Martin, a priest who is actually the Emperor's secret son. I recognized Captain Picard right away, but it was a complete and pleasant surprise to hear the mellow tones of Boromir in the game. I will tell you that there is a bit of a learning curve to maneuvering about the world and the combat, but just keep at it, pay attention, and you'll do fine. You can also fast travel from the get-go, so I barely walked anywhere. I mean, who has time for that when the world needs saving? The combat is easy enough, and though I died a few times, the gameplay made me want to try again and learn from my mistakes, which doesn't happen for me a lot. Usually I get pissed and I rage quit. Hey, personal growth. Yay me! Overall, I'm happily recommending this game to friends, family, and you fair listeners as well. Just pace yourselves. This game feels like it'll take way longer than watching the extended cut of Lord of the Rings.
Go crazy?
Don't mind if I do!
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria!
And welcome back for the weird news. This is a little bit awkward and different. During our break between segments, Birdman said, "Hey, give me a minute. I'm not feeling so great." So he took its temperature, and it turns out he's got pretty decent running fever right now. So he's like, "Do you mind if you record the rest of this solo, Alex?" And I went, "Okay, obviously I don't want you recording when you're feeling like death." So he has gone to have some like Neocitrin, take some Tylenol, and he's going to go basically nappy nap and hopefully sleep the sickness away. He's been dealing with, the flu and stuff off and on in his household. His wife Blair has had a real nasty ear infection and strep throat and all this. Hopefully he doesn't get it too, but things happen, and he wanted to be here to record the final parts here with us, but I said, "No, dude, you rest up. I'm gonna take the reins. We'll finish it off." So we're still gonna have the weird news here. It's gonna be obviously truncated and shorter because I won't be bouncing it off of anybody, and then we'll have my review of Kirby Air Riders in here, and I'll come back at the end and I'll sort of give the spiel on what's going on when it comes to programming, and I guess the next couple of weeks where we're pretty much the busiest. We're trying to keep to a schedule though. So we have two weird news stories for you today. The first one here, we're grabbing the source from it is from on Dexerto, but it's reported on other sites as well. And it is Thomas the Tank Engine returns to terrorize Morrowind as modern Mox Patel crackdown. Generally not a good idea to do that, but still, let's see here. As reported by PC Gamer, Actually, I'll go back. There's a little more context here as well. So Thomas the Tank Engine has reappeared in another viral video game mod, this time swooping through the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind after creator TrainWiz released a new overhauled version that replaces Cliff Racers with the iconic blue engine. In the past, there was a Skyrim mod, and I know that there was the mod for, was it Resident Evil 2, where it replaces like Mr. X with Thomas, and it's like da, 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 as it gets closer. But anyway, as reports by PC Gamer, the creator released Morrowind version despite concerns of saying that Mattel was out to kill him. On the mod's Nexus site, TrainWiz learns the situation with the tongue-in-cheek feature list that includes Satanism, the death of God, and finally Cliff Racers replaced with Thomas the Tank Engine. The creator also offered a blunt explanation for continuing the gag, despite possible legal friction, receiving a bunch of letters and whatnot. And it's simply because I am incapable of learning lessons whenever it involves corporations. I fundamentally do not view toy company CEOs or media CEOs as people. Thomas mods have become a fixture of PC gaming, appearing in Hogwarts Legacy. I didn't know that. Elden Ring, Fallout 4, Monster Hunter World, Resident Evil 2, that's the one I mentioned, and more. Morrowind version now joins the list, continuing the decade-long meme, even as TrainWiz jokes that Mattel's lawyers may be watching closely. If Mattel does step in again, the renewed spotlight could risk giving the mod even more visibility, a dynamic that has fueled the trend for years. Obviously, Birdman would have had more to mention on this, but I think this is brilliant. I mean, it might be gone, so get the mod and archive it if you can. That game is so jank anyway. Imagine you're just going across the fields and just big glowing red eyes, Thomas the Tank. Oh my god, I'm sorry, it tickles me too much. And then this next one here, our final one here, is reported by The Independent. Thieves steal 90,000 euros of snails meant for Michelin-starred restaurants in France. The reason I picked this is the equivalent of all of our butter thieves happening that we've been talking about for the last 6 months here, off and on, in Ontario and other parts of Canada, or the great maple syrup heist that happened many years ago in Canada. It's actually, the maple syrup heist was millions of dollars, so that doesn't count. This is more like the butter heist here. So getting into the art of hair, because it's got a bazillion ads, is about 450 kilograms, which is about 1,000 pounds, I think, worth of French snails, worth 90,000 euros, which I think would translate to roughly $100,000 US, have been stolen from a farm in Champagne region of France. Producer Jean-Mathieu Dauvergne said the fresh and frozen snails were taken from Escargot de Grand between Sunday night and Monday morning. In a Facebook post explaining the sizable theft, Dauvergne said the snails were enough for 10,000 meals, and the theft that was a very tough blow for them. This is definitely not the kind of post we thought we'd write as the holidays approach. We've been robbed, and our fresh and frozen snail stash have been robbed, the post added. Now, again, it's translated in English, so if the syntax is a little off, it's more of a straight translation. The coming weeks are usually the most important to us, so this is a shock, a misunderstanding, and a real blow for the entire team. We are trying our best to restock our stocks to satisfy you for the holidays. Most of the snails were intended for Christmas deliveries to fine restaurants such as the Michelin-starred Domaine Les Crayères in Reims, which serves them in a puff pastry dish. Devon told Le Parisien that was in a state of shock when he discovered the snails had been taken. They cut the fence, broke down the door with a crowbar and smashed the light detectors. They then helped themselves to things in my cold storage rooms. It's very surprising because they stole raw materials, 450 kilograms of snail meat. It's incredible to have stolen that much quantity. It must have been the work of a very organized network. There are 271 snail farms in France, and Devon said that the high profile of his farm meant it made them a target. We are starting to get known, and that's certainly what attracted the crooks, he told the Parisian. Epernay police officer Commander Remy Dubois said the snails were worth almost as much as champagne, and believed the thieves were likely experienced and professional. The French consume about 14,300 tons of snails a year, but 95% are imported, according to the Chambers of Agriculture. The 450 kilograms of missing snails were the farm's entire annual production, and has left them trying to find an alternative ways to fulfill their orders. That's not good. Duvernay has mainly been purchasing snails from other producers, but the reputation of his farm is so high, and some of the restaurants said they would sooner take the items off the menu than sell as substitute. Rough. That's definitely somebody that knows, like, they'd have to know intimately the whole. It's got to be somebody within the supply chain that hired people to steal it, because 90,000 euros of snails. They say that's what the retail value is. Obviously, street value is going to be less. They'll probably make off with $50,000 or 50,000 euros, or somebody just really, really wants snails. But yeah, it just reminded me a lot of our butter thieves here. So maybe it's developing. We'll probably hear more about it as they announce what's going on. But yeah, that's basically it for the weird news. Normally we'd have Birdman to bounce off of, but he's obviously off trying to stave off what could become a pretty bad sickness. So hopefully he's good for the next couple of days. But Birdman, feel better. We're going to go take a break. We're going to get into my review of Kirby Air Riders, and we'll be back to close out the show, our last show technically for the year, or last live show. That's the way we put it. And we'll be sure to come back, and I'll explain everything that's coming on programming wise, because I think things have pretty much solidified. So I guess I'm going to send it over to myself, and hopefully you can have a listen and see if Kirby Air Riders is just for you.
What's that, huh? Air Riders. What's that, huh? Air Riders. Kirby has loads of machines, uses hoppy abilities. Make sure you're fast and strong. Collect items as you go along. Wow! Giant bird in the sky. That's one big eye. What? That's a really sweet ride. Get ready to fly! Yeah! Air Riders. Yeah!
Alex, the producer here, and this is a quick first impressions review of Kirby Air Riders. Our friends at Nintendo provided a review code for my Nintendo Switch 2, and this is something that I never played the original game. I have family and friends that did, and they told me that it was fun, but very niche. And I could see why, and this is sort of like taking the original game and just, reinventing it to being much more polished and new. I can't in good faith do a review that goes over every single detail of mode of the game or styles of play or everything in there, because Sakurai spent 2 Nintendo Directs covering like 2 hours of the game. If you're interested in the nitty-gritty of every aspect in game mode, that's where you should go. Check it out on Nintendo on YouTube and watch their Directs on it if you're really curious about it. For me, coming into it, what I'll say is this: visually, it's one of the more impressive games on the Switch 2 right now. I believe it's using a new game engine because it doesn't really look like anything else on the platform. It performs quite well. I haven't encountered like major slowdowns or anything. It's just what you'd expect from Sakurai being like a solid, good, right off the bat performing piece of software that just for the most part works. No crashes or anything. Audio design is really good. It can be a little chaotic with the camera angles and stuff. There is some accessibility options to adjust blur and movements and shakiness of what's going on. So there is a bunch of accessibility options as like a first, I think, for a Nintendo first party product, is that they actually are forward thinking about accessibility for people that have sensitivity to, flashing and lights and all this sorts of stuff. As far as gameplay goes, it's one of those simplest racers you can imagine. It's basically a 1-button, well, maybe a 2-button racer. So the controls are pretty quick and easy to get used to. All of the different characters and the riders, like the vehicles, are interchangeable. They have different feels for them, like as far as, one can stop on a dime, but then it takes longer to accelerate or turn. Others are more balanced. There's like RPG stats for leveling things up throughout it. It's got everything that you would kind of want from a fun arcade racer. There are modes in there that allow you to like travel across the world, and while you're waiting for the next major race to happen, collecting things to make give you an advantage in the next races, that sort of stuff. A real good sense of progression and unlocking things, which if you've watched Sakurai's YouTube series that he did on like game creation and game theory, it totally makes sense. Basically everything he teaches, he preaches it and he uses it, obviously. I did not have any of the amiibos ready to go at launch. My brother picked them up, so I got to hold the amiibos, and they're pretty cool the way they're interchangeable too, and there's really strong magnets for them, so using them in game works pretty well. This is primarily, even though there's a single player experience, it is still primarily a multiplayer, so I would say it's more fun when played with others, but it's still a solid game to play on your own. I like that it's a new take, or at least a more recent updating take on the arcade racer. There hasn't been a whole lot of them. This year has been sort of a year of renaissance with Mario Kart World and even other properties like Sonic and other ones coming out with arcade style racers, so you can sort of pick your flavor, and nothing else is really like Kirby Air Riders on the market. Like, it's sort of in its own field, which is good, because I think it'll have legs, and I think it can be something that feels like it'll be fresh, it's fresh in November of 2025 as it is, in 2028 or 2029. It'll be sort of like an evergreen title you can keep coming back to. And I also get the feeling that if there are tweaks to be made or bug fixes and things, which I didn't even notice if there were any, this is the kind of game that they're going to keep supporting. So it's the fine tuning of everything is going to get better and better as it goes along. It's something, if you're concerned about, only getting things that are on, you don't want things that are on game key cards, and that the physical version is, all on the cart, that sort of thing. I do know that some people have analyzed it, saying that it loads faster from the internal storage if you have a digital copy. That's sort of across the board. The internal flash memory or internal NAND on the actual Switch 2 is faster than what's on the cards, but it's not a game that requires like a crazy amount of loading or anything. Everything loads, logically fast. I didn't feel any slowdown or anything. It's just bright, colorful, the cheery, fun stuff that you pretty much want in a family-based racing game. It'll make a good gift for the whole family, honestly. I'll probably be including it in our holiday gift guide, so keep an eye out for that in the next week or so. And yeah, there's not much more to say other than I'm very impressed, and I did go back and play the original on GameCube, and I could notice that this is a dramatically better and more realized game. You could tell that there was love put into both, but this is everything you would want a pseudo sequel / reimagining to be, for sure. I think it's worth it. Check it out. If you're unsure and you want more technical details, check out obviously all of the direct information from Sakurai that he did on the Nintendo Directs or the Nintendo Kirby Directs. They're easy to watch, and you can sort of jump through if there's a specific feature you want to see, because I'm not spending 2 hours going through it all. I'm just here to say that I'm really impressed, and I think you'll probably like it too.
Those magnificent bastards! Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
Alrighty, that's gonna do it for the show this week, and technically for the show this year. We will be back, I believe. Birdman and I were looking at our schedule, as we usually do the same thing in the summer, where we take like better part of a month or so off. We'll still have other programs, obviously, which I'll get into, but from the main flagship show, we do the news and we do the major reviews or updates and topic shows and all that sort of stuff. So I believe the goal is to be back the week of the 25th of January. It might be the week earlier, it might be the week later, depending on schedules, but that's generally where we're looking at least right now for that. As far as what we have programming wise, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up, actually. For Earth versus Soup, we've still got one episode ready to go this week, and that is on Thursday. We have Earth versus Soup, episode 285, Sword of Sherwood Forest from 1960. After that, I've actually got this week, I'll be putting together, editing, doing audio leveling, splicing together shows, preparing, scheduling the next several months worth, probably 20 or 30 episodes that I'll have to go through for Earth versus Soup, because we usually do them in big batches so that we don't miss a beat every Thursday moving forward. We also will have, I think early to midweek this week, we'll have a loose cannon episode on the Goofy movie double feature. That was something that the boys recorded a little while ago, so that'll be coming out. We also have, if I look at my little schedule here, we have Birdman is planning, as long as he's well enough, he'll have his little mini gift guide that deals with tabletop RPGs and books, and I'll have a little segment in there on board games that'll be coming out Friday or Saturday-ish, depending on how he's feeling. We also will have, let's see here, that's that. Then we have our holiday gift guide coming out either Sunday the 7th or Monday the 8th, depending on scheduling, how it works. That'll be our main gift guide for the year. And then we will have on probably Friday the 12th or Saturday the 13th, we'll have our Game Awards prototype roundup show at the end, where we discuss the winners, what was shown for like new trailers, that sort of stuff, and our closing thoughts basically on games and gaming for the year. And then the following Sunday or Monday on the 14th or the 15th, we have our last minute gift guide, where for things that maybe came in after but still have time to shop online for, we'll have that come out. We're going to have a Christmas special at some point come out, probably either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And that's going to be it for like new recorded stuff ahead of time that is like topic based or very topical and needed. We're going to have shows over the next, from Christmas on to when we come back in January. We're going to have a bunch of stuff that we have pre-recorded come out. So either sci-fi topic shows for our Future Imperfect stuff. We might have a Random Access Memories off-topic roundtable discussion on things. And then we also have a bunch of loose cannons ready to go, and maybe some interviews and stuff too, because I know Birdman's been working on a couple things that might pop up during then. We'll still have a review show or two for anything that came in for the gift guide that couldn't make it before the actual release schedule was locked in place over the course of the holidays as well. So as you know, Boxing Day, Boxing Week has sales. So, it's possible that if you didn't, get a chance to see what you wanted to spend that gift card or Christmas money on, we'll have probably some reviews to talk about in the meantime that you can maybe, keep swirling in your brains when it comes to like, what can I spend this money on? But that's going to do it for the show this week, this month, technically this year. We'll be back with a regular new live, flagship show with the nerd news and weird news in the new year. But be sure to listen over the next couple of weeks for all of our great holiday and game related shows, as well as Earth versus Soup, and probably a couple random surprises here in between as well.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.